Plant-based nutritionista here. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about how much fat do you need daily. There are a lot of sources out there that say you need to get your healthy fats, you need to be consuming fats in your diet, and we know that there are essential fats, but what's a healthy fat? What does essential fat mean? How much fat do you actually need? And that's what we're going to be looking at today because there is a lot of confusion about this. And I think a lot of people think a little bit of fat's good, then that just means pour it on. Is that really the case? So let's take a look at how much we actually need. There are only two essential fats, and what that means is essential meaning you need to get them from your diet. So omega-3s and omega-6 fatty acids are the only essential fatty acids, meaning they are the only ones that you need to get from your diet. Your body can make everything else. So there is no RDA for saturated fat, so no recommended amount for saturated fat because it's not essential. Your body can make all the saturated fat that's required for proper functioning, so it does not need to come from your diet. Now, I'm not going to go into whether saturated fat is good, bad, it's going to kill you, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. We're not going to talk about that. All we're saying is it's not an essential fat. You don't need it from your diet, okay? There's no RDA for it, and that's why. There's also no RDA for monounsaturated fats. Why? Because they're not essential either. Mostly we're talking about all the olive oil we love to dump over everything. It's not an essential fat. People say it helps prevent heart disease. Yes, it does help prevent heart disease when used to replace other types of fats, but it doesn't reduce it in comparison to not using anything at all. So we're not going to talk too much about that today. We're just going to go into what's essential and what's not. Essential fatty acids. First one we're going to talk about is omega-6 fatty acid or linoleic acid. Linoleic acid is an essential fat, like we talked about. You need to get it from your diet. It helps maintain hormonal balance, regulates metabolism, it maintains bone health, a lot of other functions. So it is actually really healthy. We do need it. Too much, though, on the other hand, can be pro-inflammatory. So we do need to be careful. It's not something to just gorge ourselves on. The RDA for omega-6s is about 12 grams a day. Realize, though, that that's slightly less than 2 teaspoons, just to give you an idea. It's not very much at all that you need. And we're going to look at the sources because you think, oh, okay, so I need to put 2 teaspoons of an omega-6 oil on something. No. Oils are contained within whole foods. So if you think about how little of an amount of oil that would be within the whole foods, you don't need a lot. We know that nuts and seeds can be high sources of things, but if you look at garbanzo beans have 15% of your daily value in one serving. Oats, it slightly got cut off the screen. I apologize about that, but a half of a cup of oats contains about 7% of your daily value of omega-6s. So when we think about this, brown rice, beans, oats, lots of whole grains and legumes also have omega-6 fatty acids. So it's not even something that you have to purposely be adding nuts or seeds on top of things to get it. It's essential fats are contained in all whole plant foods, which is good because then you realize, oh, if I'm eating brown rice and I had some legumes and I had, all these things throughout the day, you're going to get enough omega-6s. The oil isn't even necessary. And in fact, it can cause problems with excess, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So the next essential fat is omega-3s. Again, alpha-linolenic acid. It is required by the body. But the one thing that I want to point out here is omega-6s compete with omega-3s for the desaturase enzymes to convert them into longer chain fatty acids. So the ALA and LA are required essential fats. They then are converted into, I'm sure you've heard of these, DHA and EPA, which are what omega-3 or ALA is converted into. And then gamma-linoleic acid, which is the longer chain of an omega-6. But what happens when we're pouring all of these oils, now cooking oils are high in omega-6s and they don't contain omega-3s. Omega-3s are very unstable. They cannot be used for sauteing or cooking at all because they're very unstable. So when you're cooking with any kind of an oil, it's probably higher in omega-6s. And what happens is we get far too many omega-6s and we don't have enough omega-3s the omega-6s will get those desaturase enzymes to then become into a longer chain, and the omega-3s do not. And so this is where they say, oh, you need to eat DHA and EPA because our bodies don't convert enough of them. No, no, no. Our bodies are perfectly functional and perfectly able to convert whatever they need. The problem is our diet is imbalanced, and that's what's causing us not to convert enough of omega-3s into DHA and EPA. So pouring all these oils and cooking with all these oils is actually not the best idea because it is causing this imbalance that's preventing our bodies from getting the longer chain omega-3s that we need. So the total requirement for essential fatty acids is less than a tablespoon a day. So we really don't need that much. Do you need to use oil? No, you don't. Those oils are contained within the whole foods. We're going to look at sources of omega-3s, and this is probably going to be surprising to you. I know you'll understand the walnuts and the chia seeds, but did you know blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries are considered excellent sources of omega-3s? Kale has 11% of your daily value in 1 cup. When you have a big old bowl of a kale salad, 2-3 cups of kale in a big salad, you're getting plenty of omega-3s. Romaine lettuce, beans, rice, broccoli, all these things. In fact, even oranges, bananas, everything that you can possibly think of, every plant food you can think of has some omega-3s and omega-6s. By the time you've eaten sufficient calories for the day, you're going to get enough omega-3s, even if you didn't include walnuts, chia, or flax. Those are great. You can add them if you want just to ensure that you're getting enough omega-3s, but it really isn't necessary. And hopefully this helps you see how simple and how well nature provided for our needs for essential fats. Oils don't need to be part of this. So I'm going to compare white rice versus oil, which is more processed, which, we talk about don't eat the white things, the white rice, the white flour, all these terrible things because they're processed. But then when we talk about a whole food diet, we also talk about adding a bunch of oil, coconut oil, olive oil, all these kinds of things. But is that really technically a whole food? Let's look at this. And I'm not claiming that white rice is the best food on the planet, but what I want you to understand is that it's not as processed as you think. Brown rice has 248 calories, white rice has 205, it's slightly less calories. But look at the protein. White rice, it lost a little bit, but not a lot. White rice actually has protein. I bet you're surprised about that. It loses quite a bit of fat, but not all of it. It still has essential fats in it. It does lose a little bit of vitamin E, but look, it's still considered an excellent source of manganese, phosphorus, selenium. White rice is actually not empty calories, which a lot of people will claim that it is. Now, I didn't include the B vitamins in this. There are other nutrients that white rice has, but white rice is enriched with B vitamins and folate and some of these other things, and so I can't get an accurate idea of what's really in it because it's enriched. But this gives you an idea. White rice still has nutritional value. Surprise. But what about oil? So we take a half a cup of olives versus a half a cup of olive oil. The half a cup of olives is 93 calories. The half a cup of olive oil is 954 calories. You should not be eating that. And this is another way that people gain weight really easily because fat is 9 calories per gram versus 4 calories per gram in protein and carbohydrates. And a half a cup of olive oil would be easy to eat. It wouldn't fill up your stomach, but it's almost 1,000 calories in one fell swoop. It's lost all the protein. It's lost all of its fiber and all the nutritional value except for an insignificant amount of iron that's left. And not all olive oils will have even a little bit of iron. You look at this, it's lost all the fiber, all the protein, and all the nutritional value out of it. Olive oil is just fat. And not only that, it doesn't contain very much essential fat. It is high in monounsaturated fats, but our bodies don't even need that. So there really isn't any nutritional value to be gained from olive oil at all. It is just not the best source of fat for us to be getting what our bodies actually need to function properly. The risks of consuming omega-6s as free oils. There's research showing that it contributes to cancer promotion, increases lesions in the arteries, and can increase the risk of cataract formation. So consuming omega-6s as free oils is not the best idea. Part of this is that once an oil is extracted from the whole food, it oxidizes, and that oxidative damage can cause damage to all kinds of tissues, the lining of the arteries, the eye, the lens of the eye, all those kinds of things. It can cause damage because of the oxidation that happens within oils when they've been taken out of their whole food. Whole food sources are always superior to anything processed, including oils. I don't care if it's coconut oil, olive oil, it doesn't matter what it is. Coconut oil doesn't have any nutritional value. Olive oil doesn't have any nutritional value, whether even the fats contained in them are not essential either. It is better to get them from whole food sources so that you know that everything you're eating is in balance. Consuming these oils can throw that balance of essential fats off, and then we actually don't get what our body needs to function properly, and it inhibits conversion of nutrients that we do need. Essential fats should be coming from berries, vegetables, legumes, nuts, or seeds if weight isn't an issue for you. And this provides antioxidants, fiber, protein, carbohydrates, all the nutrition that we need in the food that we're eating versus just empty calories that we're dumping on salads or sauteing our food in. So we do need to be careful we're not doing that so we have the proper balance. Hopefully this helps you understand a little bit more about what essential fats are and how to get them. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you next time.